I welcome the audience that is attending and everybody that made it today. And I know that there's a lot of time zones, so some people are joining very early. So I'm extra grateful for those people for making that great effort. The challenge event has been going on this week, and we started on Monday with sustainable forestry and agriculture and land management. And today we will be talking about socio-economic development. The participants that are going to present their proposals today are selected out of a list of over 150 proposals, so expect the very best. And they have been preparing within our bootcamp program very intensively over the last couple of weeks for this live event. And we selected 5 very experienced jury members that are going to test them for their proposals, and the participants will have the chance to answer the questions. And finally, we will select the winners, and they will be presented coming Friday during the final event. So first, I will give you a quick introduction to the jury members. Oh yeah, it's important to notice that some of the participants are going to speak in Russian. And there is an interpretation option. So if you click on that button, you can set the language to the preferred language. You can speak in your own language, and that should not be a problem. There will be 6 teams today that are going to present. I will briefly introduce these teams when it's their time to speak. And our first jury member is Safar Makhmudov. He is the executive director of the Regional Environmental Center for Central Asia. He is an expert in mainstreaming climate change adaptation and mitigation into national development plans and strategies. Prior to joining CARAC, he served as the head of the project implementation unit at the Committee for Environment Protection under the government of the Republic of Tajikistan. He also serves as the senior advisor to the chairman of the Committee on Achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement of 2030. Thank you very much for being here. Then our next jury member is David Sarley. I know that he is one of the jury members that woke up very early to be here today. We are very grateful for that. He is an impact investor and a senior program officer for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And he works on innovations to strengthen healthcare, including boosting vaccines coverage. And he established the foundation's initial supply chain strategy for primary healthcare and contributed to the vaccine supply strategy. He has worked on public health in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and in Kyrgyzstan, and has worked in over 80 other countries, managing and implementing long and short-term investments, supply chain, and economic development projects. Thank you very much for being here. Then we have Livia Todt. She is the Ventures Director of Plug and Play's European headquarters for supply chain and logistics. In this position, she oversees all investment and tech sourcing activities. And before joining this team, Livia was responsible for a wide array of ventures-related activities for Plug and Play sports platform with Adidas, their Safe Tech program with Lloyd's Register, as well as the mobility platform with Daimler, Porsche, and 30 other corporations in Stuttgart. Thank you very much for joining us today. Then we have Baltugan Tashmakina. She is the head of implementation and monitoring of the Ministry of Energy of the Republic of Kazakhstan, and she serves under the Department of Renewable Energy. Thank you very much. And then finally, last but not least, Natalia Olsen Urtecho. She is the Chief Operations Officer of the Radical Exchange Foundation. She is also an advisor on innovations at the World Bank, and she is a co-founder of the Disruptive Factory. She is a serial entrepreneur with more than 20 years of global experience in a wide range of fields. And prior to her current roles, she was appointed by President Obama as the SBA Regional Administrator, where she managed yearly $35 billion in government contracts for SMEs. She was appointed to the US Innovation Advisory Board to advise Congress and the White House on competitive and innovation. She has been honored with the prestigious awards such as woman of distinction for her work in sustainable infrastructure and the green economy. And I am Jurrit Becking. I am an environment and agriculture consultant for the World Bank, and I will be the moderator today. And I'm very excited to announce the first team that will be presented by Trina Listanko and Endre Balog. And this will be Isla O closed loop eco island for landscape restoration, carbon sequestration, and circular economy. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jurrit, and good morning, everybody from Calgary. And so, can we bring up the slides now? Thank you, Baljan. So once the Aral Sea was home to at least 1,100 islands. That's 1,100 islands that supported life in the region. But now it's known as a graveyard for ships and a public health threat to people across the continent. And so we're here today to help restore the Aral Sea, one island at a time. Next slide, please. My name is Trina. I'm the founder and the CEO of the Isla O project. I was born in an island myself, and I've studied around the world to become a geographer, an environmental engineer. I'm a practicing clinician, now an entrepreneur here in Canada. All my life's work and my journeys has led me to the creation of these islands, the islands that will embody the circular economy and a sense of health and wellness for people and the planet. Next slide, please. So our proposal has two components. There's a technical part, and then there's the socio-economic intervention. So the technical part are essentially these floating island infrastructures made of recycled and recyclable construction materials. We're even incorporating sequestered carbon emissions to make sure that there's no waste generated at any point of our product's life cycle. Next slide, please. These platforms are modular, they're movable, and they can be scaled up or scaled down. Next slide. And they will function in a variety of ways. First, they could be physical evaporation barriers. Second, they could be bioremediation sites. Third, they're ecotourism destinations. Fourth, they're literally platforms for other innovations in water resources management or even in renewable energy. And fifth, these are climate adaptive installations that can be replicated and be brought elsewhere around the world. Next slide, please. So for the bioremediation part, we're using renewable carbon-based filter media that can absorb and sequester nutrients and pollutants from the water. So now you can imagine, next slide, please. Fishermen being able to fish out and harvest nutrients and pollutants and having these materials be taken to the farmers. Now the farmers can use these materials as soil amendments to plant a variety of crops, such as the Salix species or willow. Willows can be coppiced such that some of the branches biomass can be converted to become the carbon-based filter media. So you're closing the loop on that material. Also, farmers can plant medicinal crops, and there's a variety of them, but I'm highlighting the sea buckthorn, or abla piha in Russian. The abla piha oil is already used in a variety of cosmetic and skincare products. In fact, we're using it in our own formula for a skin toner, and I can personally say it's such a versatile and nourishing oil to use. Next slide, please. So now we have these range of products that we can further integrate into the service sector, such as in the botanical spas or conservatories of wellness, where clinicians and local healers and traditional knowledge keepers can come together and curate a truly unique health and wellness services, health and wellness experience from the Aral Sea. Next slide, please. So not only are we closing the loop on water pollution, but we're also helping to heal the land and the people. Next slide. And I'm very grateful to have innovative and supportive project partners and suppliers. We also have consultants, technology development advisors, and supportive programs from the City of Calgary, from Alberta Innovates, from the Canadian National Research Council, and of course, leading research institutions here in Calgary, such as the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. And so having these relationships and network, along with some assets and other resources, we can leverage these to access public funding and also private investment. All that, thank you, next slide, please. To generate revenue from three main streams. First, from stories. These islands are literally stages for storytelling. And of course, we can monetize that in terms of media platforms. But for me, the most important thing is the stories that we are able to tell ourselves, this renewed connection with the Aral Sea that's truly invaluable and priceless. The second, we have products. We have real estate products like islands or a body care product. So regardless of your price range, you're able to participate in this economy. And third, we have services so that we're able to employ local people, upgrade their skills and capacity, and create a global community, a global archipelago of wellness. Next slide. So thank you very much. And we hope that you would continue to support, mentor, and invest in our vision to create 1,100 islands of hope and 1,100 islands of eco-wellness in the Aral Sea and around the world. Thank you.
All right, Trina, that was really good. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that our jury members have very interesting questions for you. And I would like to give the word first to Natalia, also in Urtecho.
That was very inspiring, Trina. I really like the idea. My first question is, has this been tried before? Somewhere, other some case studies, use cases of where this has been done and so on. I didn't really heard that in your presentation. And then second is, how much would this cost as an investor? I'm an urban planner by background, so I love big ideas and so on. And I actually worked in the firm that built the islands in, I think it was off Dubai. It was very costly. So
yeah. Okay, so the first question, have there been case studies? Well, we've right from the start, we decided to use commercially available materials and technology. So like the core material for the platforms, and then the encapsulation material, and also the bracing and the frames are all construction grade materials that are available in Canada. And the same with the carbon-based filter media, which is biochar. So I think putting them together is the bit that we're trying, and we're at the early planning stage of prototyping here in Calgary, and prototyping not just the performance of those structural elements, but also in terms of programming. How are people going to respond to this? How are we going to use this? Right. And so the second question is like, how much? If we're talking in Canadian dollars, we're looking at about 250, 300, 400. That's kind of our target per square foot. So it's fairly competitive in terms of real estate value. And in an island like this, which is movable, a property that will hold its value for a long time, and that you can move around because it's very light and you can build on it. So I think, yeah, and then in terms of, like in terms of private commissioning, I think we're very much open to that as part of the seed funding fundraising campaign. So definitely there's a lot of interest in private commissioning, especially work from home. You can now work from an island.
We have about 1 minute left. I would like to ask one other question, and we have to give a very quick answer. Baltugan, could you please ask your question?
Hi. Yeah, I have some question. Are there analogies of such islands in the world, and can your project compete with them on a price?
Yes, so from just our Canadian market survey, it looks like it could be very competitive, and the value added is the fact that we can program it. So it's the added layer of the experience-based economy that sets this apart. We're not just building barges, we're not just building docks, we're building island infrastructures with programming. And I guess that's the whole package. That's sort of like the plug and play turnkey package that we're selling as a company. And yes, like there are precedents for using these platforms for renewable energy production. For example, you can put solar PV arrays on these ones, or I've looked at innovative high altitude wind production systems as well, power systems as well, that we could install in these.
All right, Trina, thank you
Okay,
so
thank
much.
you.
This
Thank
is
you.
really great, and you did it perfectly within the time. So let's move on to the next presentation. And this will be the Aral Sea. This will be presented by Andre, and it will be the Aral Basin news on the YouTube channel Land and Water Central Asia. Andre, I hope you're ready. And good luck.
Please, I need agreement to share the screen. Okay, now. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so dear colleagues, I would like to present today our media startup Aral Basin News. Here you can see our core team from different countries of Central Asia. Actually, we are a young team, but we are not the first year in the region, and we work like researchers many years in Central Asia, and especially for Aral region. Here you can see several articles that was made under my supervision during last years. And in result, what we observe in the region is the main problem is the lack of information about environment and many projects in the Aral Sea basin. As a result, local people have no any idea about international activity in the region. Sometimes they have no ideas about activity of local governments in the region. I mean, it's positive. And solution of this problem, as we see, is a regular video news about Aral region. So this is our product, Aral Basin News. We would like to publish it every week. And this news will consist from 4 main parts: news from local citizens, so from local villages. Then next block, initiatives of international donors and authorities. Some information about science, from research, and expert opinion about a topic of the current issue. In the middle of news will be a commercial advertisement for sustainability of our project, and in the end of our release will be advertisement of important calls or events. We would like to publish this news on the independent platform, YouTube channel Land and Water Sea. Today, I would like to say this is one of the largest platforms with a focus to environment and social problems of the Central Asia. Our target audience is first of all local ordinary people and in the same time specific professional communities. But most important that our news will help to communicate between this nearly isolated group of people. Time plan of our project is simple. We would like to publish 1 release every week. We have for every release will be 1 responsible person. Permanent work will be focused on the communication and promotion of our product. And I will work general coordination and looking for additional fundraising for the sustainability of our project. Actually, additional fundraising will consist of crowdfunding and communication with commercial advertisers for our news. Based on this, I hope that we will reach sustainability in the long-term future. Budget of current application consists of 3 blocks. First of all, we have to collect news and build a raw digest of this news. Then we will build or make final product, our video news. And important block is a promotion of this news and looking for additional fundraising for the continuation of this project. Here you can see 5 goals for the long-term perspectives, and what we would like to achieve is a good social network and good reputation as a one block. And next, we would like to achieve global expansions with several languages, because it's important to use local languages if you would like to discuss or communicate with local people. Measured parameters you can see in these black squares, and mainly, so we would like to publish every week. We would like to reach around $4,000 every month income, and of course we would like to reach 1 million total views. So thank you very much for attention.
Thank you very much, Andrei, for this amazing presentation. I'm sure that the jury have a lot of questions to ask, so I would like to give the floor to Livia.
Thank you. And thank you, Andrei, for this presentation. And it's great that you guys are bringing attention to some very important challenges in the Aral Sea region. I have a few questions, maybe 2. So I would like to ask that, because you guys launched the platform in 2018 already, and you have some videos, do you have any examples where because of your footage, because of your video, there was some challenge that was like brought attention to and was solved because you highlighted it?
Yes, we have examples. We have our own examples, because this Land and Water Sea YouTube channel is already 2 years old, and we have really standard permanent audience of this channel, and it's rising. Also, my team also have a own experience in this way. One of us published political news in Kyrgyz language, and outside of our team, we have very good example that call Water Cafe. It's not video news, but it's a group in Facebook. It's nearly the same, but without video component. So I would like to say today the region is ready for such news, but it's still something waiting. So I think they're waiting for us.
I can imagine. And the next question would be if you plan to also outsource the content creation, so also this way give some mini jobs to people in the regions and let
definitely
them
definitely it's my main goal, because I'm actually personally living in Germany, and if you call the cost of this price, all 4,000 euros dollars will be enough for me personally. And it will not work in. So I need around myself, I will add maybe spend $200 for supervision, and most of the price will be spent for the local community. I have very dense social network, and we have already with my colleagues, 3 colleagues, young colleagues, they already have experience with video production. And we have a lot of volunteers from the local student community. I would say people from Kazakhstan, students from Kazakhstan, they really would like to join this project. Students from Uzbekistan, I would say many of them would like, and also we have people from another countries. So unfortunately, Turkmenistan is a close country. We have no good communication, but people from Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan also would like to join this project. So it will be as a primary Aral Basin news, Definitely, maybe 1 year long, we will publish it like Aral Basin News, but in the future, we would like to expand, of course, for the whole Central Asia, because a lot of to say. Positive.
Right.
I mean, in positive.
Andre,
in positive.
Thank you for your great answer. I want to give somebody the chance to ask one more question. So please, Safar. Thank you, Livia, very much for your questions.
Thank you, Andrea, for this very interesting presentation. I'm left with very short time, so just let me shoot my question straight away. We know that the problem of Aral is a kind of a disaster of the century for the region. Now, and most of the activities are around solving the problem of Aral. And most of the projects that are implemented in the region, they face one big common challenge, the sustainability. In your presentation, you talked about self-sufficiency. Can you be a little bit more precise on this self-sufficiency and highlight who are your buyers of this information? Who are you targeting? And what is the selling point?
So if you see this additional slide with sources of information, at this moment, we have enough sources of information. At the same time, RETSA is one of the major sources of information. But unfortunately, not many people looking for a website of RETSA. It exists, this problem. And of course, exists a lot of another places for looking for information. So it will be not a problem. And this information is always free, but we have some first part of our budget we will spend for the classification of this information, because now this information provided by, for example, World Bank or FAO, for example, and with very specific form, and ordinary people have a problem with understanding for what is this, and we have to convert this information to the usual or normal languages of local people. And in the same time, we have to keep in mind that local people in Aral Sea Basin speak only local languages. Sometimes they can speak only language in the Pakistan. So
I'm very sorry, I'm going to have to break you off. Your time is finished, but I think you gave great answers, and I want to thank the jury members again for their strong questions. And
I just would like to say one comment more about platform.
I'm sorry that
okay,
the time
I will
is
send. Okay. Okay.
We can make sure that
I would like to say that we can publish this news on the platform of RETSA, for example. It's also
okay.
possible.
Thank you very much. We are going to move to the next participants, and that will be Rasulava Karinisino. Okay, I'm totally doing that name wrong. Please present yourself after you start. The name of this proposal is Capacity Building of Women on Rational and Effective Water and Land Management on the base of Women Water Forum.
Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen. My name is Khairnisa Rasulova. I represent the project team from Tajikistan. It is my great honor and pleasure to present to your attention our project idea to improve the capacity of women in water and land management through the Women's Water Forum platform. Let me to make the presentation in Russian and present you the idea on involving and activating women in decision-making in the field of integrated water resource management. Уважаемые дамы и господа, почему?
Dear ladies and gentlemen, why did we choose this theme? Man has a very young population that is growing every year. So whereas in 2019 we had about 9 million people, in 2020 we had 9,300,000 people, and 49% of them are women. But they're not fully engaged in Tajikistan's economy. So identifying the reasons why this is happening showed us that the reasons are predetermined, first of all, by the gender stereotypes and mentality, domestic commitments, barriers to quality education for girls. We've conducted 29 focus groups with members of the Water Forum, and so the existing gender stereotypes mentality create barriers to quality education for girls. In their turn, low level of knowledge and skills among women makes them uncompetitive in the labor market. And this leads to their low level of access to resources, both economic and natural, limits their knowledge and education, and thus they cannot mobilize their capacity completely. So the idea of our project is that the already established platform, Venue Women Water Forum, can be used as a solution or to address the gender violence in the water sector and land management in Tajikistan. Capacity building among women represents a tool for rational water management and support of the efforts to save and to restore the Aral Sea. Women's Water Forum will support to the elimination of gender inequality and gender-based violence, and also based on the bottom-up approach, we plan to educate women and raise their awareness in such a way, in relation to effective water and land resources management. Our innovative approach is that we want to establish a sustainable, strong platform within the Serdar Basin Management, which dialogue which takes place twice a year. So back to back with this event, we conduct the meetings of the Women's Water Forum, which unites ideas on women's capacity building, mainstreaming their role in water resources and land resources management. Within our project, we want to conduct online trainings, mentoring programs, and online and offline study visits. And we want to do that in order to build the capacity of common female farmers. This will lead to better yields and thus higher income. And so the slogan of the forum is achieving gender equality through the development of women's self-awareness. In Tajikistan, we have 5 basins, major basins. So we plan to use the Women's Water Forum to prevent gender violence in the management and use of natural and water resources, as well as in the educational sphere, which will allow them to expand and develop their management skills. Currently, a common rule woman cannot speak up, for example, to get her water on time. She cannot express her opinion in the taxation agencies because she doesn't possess enough education, enough leadership skills and competencies. That the forum has already demonstrated its bottom-up approach because it focuses on very important on the issues very important for women on land and water resources management. The exchange of good practices and experiences will help women understand that women in other regions, in other countries, face the same issues. And so if a woman somewhere was able to resolve this matter, then they will start to believe that they can do it as well. The exchange of experiences and networking with women from other countries will help to promote the sustainable dialogue through existing water platforms. As a result of our project, we want to train 500 women on various hydrotechnical and water and land resources management skills, innovative agriculture and farming technologies. Our forum is the locomotive or the driver for disseminating the information among common women as a venue for structuring requests to public agencies and
Just a quick reminder.
Thanks to the good structure of these queries. So thank you very much for your attention. This was in brief about our project and about our idea.
All right, great. Thank you so much for your presentation. That was really great. I would like to ask David Sarley for a question now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. Really important subject, really important issue has to be addressed. Can you articulate the business plan? How is the project going to be funded and how will it generate revenues?
And before we ask to the next question, maybe for the sake of time, I would like to ask Safar also to ask his question so that we can take them both together.
Thank you very much, Karine Rousseau, for your very interesting presentation. I also wanted to ask you, have you taken account of socio-economic issues because you plan to work with women? What measures do you plan to take to eliminate the social and economic barriers? Thank you very much for your questions, dear jury members. To the first question, allow me to describe our business model. The Forum Secretariat will render innovative services and technical services, and thus will ensure the profitability of women. And we hope that women, based or in exchange for these technical and innovation services, will agree to pay membership fees. Currently, the Women's Water Forum is funded based on the grant from Helvetis, but we hope to mobilize additional funds in the future. For 15 years, we've been working, this is to the second question, on enhancing housing and other conditions of women. So we've established several self-assistance groups, and this allows to engage women in economic activities. This in turn allows to increase a woman's status within a family. So we've already appraised this approach. We are collaborating with 499 self-assistance groups. And so we can say for sure when a woman sees a successful example from another woman via our mentorship program, she tries to replicate, to do the same, and thus enhance her social and economic status in society or in her family. I hope I did answer your question. An additional comment: by teaching a male, you're teaching just one person. By training when you're training the whole family. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great. And thank you, jury members, for your great questions. And let's move to the next presentation. And for the next presentation, we will have a slightly different approach. Otabek will present us, and the title of his proposal is "Let's Fill the Aral Sea with an Ocean of Sounds." The floor is yours.
Yes. Yeah, hi guys. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. This is a great project that we're participating in. My name is Otabek and I'm producer of Stichia Music Arts and Science Festival. It is held annually in Karakalpakstan, part of Uzbekistan, in a small town called Moynak. This year, hopefully we're gonna have it in 14th and 15th May. Next slide, please. Yes, it is a non-profit event, attended by about 3,000 to 4,000 people, mainly locals, given the proximity, the distance to the venue, and difficultness of getting there it is not surprised that it is not attended by tourists or other ravers from the country, but that audience is slowly growing due to the developing culture of electronic music and progressive culture in Uzbekistan. Stihia, it doesn't have direct translation into English, but in Russian it means something like a personal universe, but it also means the force of nature. And we thought that it correctly depicts the place where the venue is, thus the place of the environmental catastrophe. The next slide, please. The mission of the festival is raising the awareness about the Aral Sea. As previous speakers said, that the issue with the Aral Sea is not that well known to the global community, but it is one of the most acute environmental disasters in the Eurasian continent, and it has very direct consequences in this country. We haven't had snow for the last 15 years in Uzbekistan, and one of the reasons for that, because the Aral Sea has gone. It was the natural conditioner, natural air humidifier. Now it's gone. So we have to talk about it more by all means and make it very loud in literal sense. This is the mission of the festival. Next slide, please. Yeah, how do we support our mission? We support it by, first of all, focusing on local capacity building. We try to indicate which parts of that community requires any help in terms of knowledge raising, the trainings, anything that we can educate locals, local community, the small and sized businesses. We also would like to start a research. It is a very big problem that there is a very few research into this problem. And that is why it creates a lot of speculations about the reasons why this catastrophe has occurred. And one of the objectives is to trigger that research. We would love to see some institutions to do more research into this topic. Another objective is to forestation. We want to plant as much trees as possible in the places where it is possible to do. And also is to create the unique cultural event in the CIS, make a very big cultural magnet for those who can understand that part of the culture and become a, something that would create a touristic potential. Next slide, please. So the festival, the project here consists of several projects. The first one is being the music festival itself. During the daytime, we have a forum called Stihia N+1. It is also 6 Billion Tree Initiative, the project about forestation, and Stihia Beyond project. We'll talk a bit later. Next slide, please. This is the photograph from the last event. The next slide, please. Yeah, the music festival is quite interesting. We don't have headliners. It is very loud event with one of the best sound systems actually in the country. The music, the format of the music is specifically tailored for the ambience. So there is a security, there is fire station, and also medical service support, all by standards of such festivals abroad. Next, please. The artists, they are usually those who basically support the mission, and the way they support it, they usually do not charge for their fees. We only the travel costs and accommodation. Some of them, they charge us the fees, but very, very nominal value. Some of the very big names like Nina Kravitz, for example, is one of the techno titans now. So we also pull local artists as well. Next slide. Yeah, this is a DJ from last festival. Next slide. Forum N+1, that's daytime event. It's a place where we talk about environmental catastrophe. We thought that if we need to talk about this event, about the Aral Sea, we have to talk it at the site of the accident, about not in the air-conditioned conference halls, which is also good, but it also bring good to bring people, experts, right at the site of the catastrophe, so everyone can witness and discuss about potentials of how to help locals and generally the issue, right? The next slide. 6 billion trees. We want to plant trees. One of the sponsors has just confirmed that they're ready to fund 5,000 trees planting this year. So we're doing that as well. Next slide, please. Stihia Beyond. This is the project of sending radio signal into the space. Yeah. And we really want this to happen. We are talking to Russian Academy of Science to use one of their radio telescopes. And Pink Floyd, they agreed to be part of this project, which is great. Next slide, please. We're covered by a lot of media. Next slide. Thank you very much.
All right, Otabek, thank you so much for your great presentation and this great idea. And I love this last picture.
Yes.
Let's have the questions together because I liked how that worked last time. I want to ask Livia and Batugan to ask their questions. Livia, if you could please start.
Yeah, thank you.
Otabek can answer.
Yeah, Otabek, thank you for the presentation. It's a great initiative, and also it's great what you have achieved so far. I'd like to ask that, of course, like this festival is a one-time event per year. How do you make sure that you keep the momentum going and you follow on and follow up with the results and all the the outcomes of the initiatives that you plan to put in place?
Thank you.
Otabek, can we ask the question of Batugan so we can take them together? Then you have
sure.
Batugan, could you ask your question?
Окей, можно я задам вопрос на русском языке? Мне просто было почти аналогично.
So my question is the following. How do you plan gathering your audience or target audience in the course of the year? And the second question, in addition to N+1 forum, in addition to the information-related objective, what other components does your business model have?
Year by communicating frequently with the local government, with the local communities, by maintaining very strong relationship with the international donors and institutional sponsors who would support this during the year. And we try to make as much as content during the year as possible. We think this is the only way we can do that for now with our limited resources. How to bring more people to the project and to make this real practical help. I think for now, this is a young initiative, this is a startup. Our objective is to raise the awareness about the project itself. It grows very organically. And that is why what we're doing right now is exactly one of the marketing policies of our project is to make the grow the audience organically. And I think this is the only way how it can grow. This is a very long-term strategy project. In 10 years, 15 years time, it will be bigger, but we will be growing very slowly, like a crystal. So, but still, we have a very big objective of making it as loud as possible and filling, if we cannot fill the Aral Sea with water, we need to fill it with ocean of sounds and make it very loud. Thank you.
All right, Otabek, thank you so much. This is really a great initiative and a great presentation. And let's hope that the world turns back to normal soon so that we can create a very big festival in the Aral Sea.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to the next team. And perfect. Ayman is going to present to us about his sustainable socio-economic Argo business proposal for Aral Sea region people in harmony with flora and fauna. Please take the floor and good luck.
Hello, everybody. So sorry if Ayman would present in Russian, but we decided that it will be better to present in English. So my name is Janai Sagin, and I will present our project. So our project is related to the expansion of technical and vocational education and training in the Aral Sea Basin region. Let's review what we have, what we do, and what we plan to develop in Central Asia in this Aral Basin region. And for this purpose, SWOT is very helpful. So let's review what we have. So we are a group of researchers and educators who are working in this area. So this is Kızılar'da, so it's nearby this Aral Sea Basin. And during 15 years, this institute, Rice Farming Institute, has been working in this area. We have a big network of farmers and who were growing rice. So this is our strongest part, that we have a big group of practitioners who are very strong in rice growing. So we are very strong in this rice. So simply saying, we have land, we have a facility, we have everything related to rice. So what's our problems? What are threats? So in this area, we have a lot of issues. So water is one of the main issues, and another problem, pollution. So during many years, you see a lot of production of dangerous uranium stuff, and here different weapons were tested. It was the testing facility for biological, chemical weapons, and all this stuff are moving downstream. All this stuff end up here. So it's one big problem. So water is very polluted, one issue. Another problem, monocrops. So all these pesticides, phosphate, nitrates from all these areas end up here. It's finished here. So we have a lot of problems with respiratory cancer problems and all this virus mutation and bees extinction because of these monocrops. And at the same time, people have to survive. And that's why wild licorice roots digging illegally and export to China is widespread because people need money to survive. This is a big issue. And this is our weaknesses. So we need to learn how to grow the salt-tolerant halophyte crops, and we're missing it, and agro-crop modeling, prediction analysis, and I mentioned water quality issue, sustainable groundwater use, and water recycling is a huge problem because we use water just one time. We don't have this technology like managed aquifer recharge. And business plan preparation is a huge problem. People are not trained to develop project properly and to manage finance. And another big issue, online training. Simply, we don't have internet. So farmers don't have internet, and our children in rural areas, they don't have internet. And this last year, it was a crazy year. People, children just simply miss education. So we have to work on this online issue, and we're in communication with Ministry of Education, convince them that we have to set up proper internet facility. So what we have, like for any project, we have to now what we have. So what we have? So surface water, you know, it's depleted. But at the same time, we have groundwater, and we have about 31 billion cubic of groundwater. But at the same time, we're missing proper studies of renewable, non-renewable water. So non-renewable water were developed something like 1,000 years ago. If you get it out, so it's done. So renewable water, you can restore it if you use like managed aquifer recharge, reuse it, and you can use it, yeah. But non-renewable water, just is getting crazy because we don't have surface water, and for agriculture, some farmers started to use non-renewable water, and it's depleting now. So we have to work on these irrigation issues, and irrigation technologies are not good. We have to work on irrigation and develop proper irrigation system to use these renewable technologies. And we compare it different regions in the world, and so it will be rational to compare apple with apple, just to get similar areas with similar climate and similar environment and so on. So we compared this region and we compared Nebraska. So it's approximately similar and similar climate and a lot of stuff, you know, just technologies could be adapted from Nebraska because you see it's same latitude and same weather condition and so on. But we compared similar basin. And what we see that in Nebraska, United States, they use water very efficiently, and they use water many times. They use surface, groundwater, they're circulated. and they have profit 8 times more comparing to our region in Central Asia. And why? Why they so successful? One of the main reasons is education. So they train their children in the high school. They train their children professionally. So you may check this website, and they have this very powerful educational program. They train high school children to work with groundwater resources. And in rural areas, their children help their parents how to work on this precision agriculture technology, how to work with water quality. Children help their parents. And in our condition, Central Asia, we don't have it because children are moving to the cities and our rural areas are abandoned. And next problem is connected problem. We don't have this type of training connection. So from school to get this
Just
professional.
To inform you, you have now presented for 6 minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry, I will move faster. Okay, so we have to work on this issue. And these are our 3 models. What we are doing now, agri modeling, field training, and business plan training. So it's next step. And we are working on this stuff now, on agri modeling stuff, and connected this practical training from FAWA. And all this stuff will be set up on an online platform. So this is our current activities, and eventually all this technology, what we see, it looks like Elon Musk ideas. They're perfect, excellent, wonderful, but it's necessary to adapt all these technologies. And with this platform, it will be helpful to get all this stuff. And local people should make decision, I guess, yeah, it's useful for them. And we can provide all services. We're ready to cooperate, and we have a big network on farmers. You are welcome to cooperate with us, and we will help you to test and expand your agri-business in our region. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move quickly for time's sake. Natalia, could you please ask your question?
Sure, Janai, it's a great idea, especially because education is really, really important. But Nebraska did not get there by itself. It actually had federal funding, state funding, and a lot of venture capital coming into the perspective of how does this work. Have you reached out to different governments, or is this the first time that you're reaching out to different institutions that can actually help you create this framework, right?
Exactly.
And is there a possibility of starting small, right? You got to start small somewhere. Like Nebraska is one of our 50 states. Have you been able to do this in a smaller scale somewhere? Just to prove, because we, as an investor, we always want to see what the proof of concept was, and sort of for us to be able to sell it and make it more successful across a larger area.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Thank
you very
much. Thank you. So you see, you may check this corporation, Walmart Valmy Corporation. This corporation is planning to invest $50 million to build a factory to work on sustainable irrigation. And they need 1,000 experts who can work on this technology. So this is a problem. One hand, we have unemployment, and at the same time, they don't have people who can work on these sustainable technologies. So one of the biggest issues. So we have client who needs many experts, and they need services similar what they already have in Nebraska. So for corporations, it's very complicated to invest on education. So we're trying to convince our Ministry of Education that our educational system should have this part. We don't have it. So with support of CAREC, this CAREC organization, we already work on this stuff. We're testing this agri modeling. People don't have this habit to model. We usually build something, construct something, and after that, are we done it correctly? We don't have drainage system. We built already city, but where are our drainage systems? So this is a problem. We have to work on modeling. Yeah, this is the issue. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'm muted. That's a beginner mistake. Thank you very much for your presentation, Janai.
Thank you.
I think we have a short time, so I'm not going to ask for another question. But it was great, and we're going to move to the next presentation. And thank you, Natalia, for your questions also. So let's move to the next team. And the next team will be presented by Michel, and this I believe he will start with a video. And his proposal is called From Landlocked to Leader, Central Asia's Youth Want to Trade Up Sovereignty for Competitive Advantage. Good luck.
Hello, my name is Michel. I am a startup coach and marketing director. I am also coach of Team CAT, with youth from Karakalpakstan, Armenia, also landlocked, European Union and ASEAN. They are students from various schools and universities ready to undertake whatever is needed for positive change, provided they get the resources to do so. More about this later. Today I'm going to show you how to create win-win partnerships. We propose communities will generate data about them that developing banks can use to make better informed decisions. This case study is about health promotion. Many Aral Sea residents suffer from poor health, anemia and throat cancer, all from the extensive use of pesticides for decades. There's also an urgent need for informal mental care, such as self-help and rehabilitation. The business opportunity is a primary healthcare project in Uzbekistan by the Asian Development Bank, together with almost 800 rural family clinics. We wish them great success. About the problem we aim to solve. From research we learned that worldwide, health clinics spend almost 2 hours on paperwork for every 1 hour actual care. That's enough time for some Aral Sea residents to onboard their wellness while enjoying a 1.5 hours Russian manicure beauty treatment. We propose communities incubate nail salons in their village. Over time, these become a network of connected lifestyle touchpoints. At these salons, residents can get first-class manicure with discount. In return, they survey themselves and onboard health platforms. Expected effects are decentral, scalable health promotion and survey research. This salon-to-clinic youth business is a 3-step model, starting with capacity building, followed by incubating community-driven salons that will reward civil engagement with discount on hair and makeup. Win-win. On this slide you see the clinic and salon working together to survey and generate health data. As a result, the clinics spend less on paperwork, thus increase their capacity to provide healthcare. Internet tablets are made available for survey research. People can also use their mobile phone. The salon offers a safe and protected environment for youth to communicate with peers. And with that we get a textbook Globalization 4.0 case study. Let the health promotions begin. So here we are, with potentially the following deal within reach. About a few dozen nail salons can be started to act as feeders for the clinics. These salons can break even within 18 months while rewarding their health-promoting customers. The investment model is based on clinics paying a referral fee for SOAP-documented patients who onboard before they need care and visit a clinic. For example, they are invited to onboard when answering a survey during their nail art session. Together they also go to market with cost-effective higher technology that people can use at home after a short explanation at a salon. Let's introduce Rob, the inventor and CTO of Sanguina, who himself also suffers from anemia.
Rob is a brilliant computer coder, and the fact that he is chronically anemic really enabled him to be the perfect person to do this.
Currently, in order to find out if you're anemic, it's actually a pretty involved process. You get a blood test, and it will be analyzed on an expensive piece of equipment, but in low resource settings, that's not always the case. The idea for this app really came from old school medicine, where basically the more pale you are, the more likely you are to be anemic. So the technology that I've developed is a smartphone app for diagnosing anemia that works by just taking a picture of your fingernails.
We believe that only positive peer pressure can help make us positive change in how we rule planet Earth. Until technology is capable of representing such knowledge, it is humans that have to work with each other. Late 2019 showed us that it is very difficult to drive change if you're the only one, even with 6 million other Me Too Greta supporting you. Communities are therefore highly valuable parts of our society, especially those still holding their ground in now deserted areas. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. You will find more ideas in our main proposal. Before I continue to the last slide, kindly start asking questions via the chat. What we aim for is that youth get involved at a young age. That way they can help decide future outcome. Please, invite the youth of Central Asia to become locally available experts in business continuity, such as healthcare. Just don't ask them to be volunteers, while at the same time offloading debt to future generations. Youth are also your future, so let's invest. Thank you all for organizing the Aral Sea Challenge. Let's also not forget our very capable translators. Well done! What would we do without you? I hope you enjoy this challenge as well. We are Team CAT, a startup facilitating youth business in Central Asia. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much, Michel. That was great. My apologies to everybody for the little disruption in the presentation and our issues with the technology, but it was solved well. I would like to ask this round for questions from David and Safar. And I would like to take the questions together, and then I give you the floor, Michel, to answer them. Please, David, start.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you for the presentation, and Michel. So in terms, if I understand the primary care, you will be attracting people to and for the nail salons and using that to help with the diagnosis of anemia. How will you make sure that you are attracting children and men who would not necessarily go to a nail salon themselves? And so just to get that clarity.
All right, thank you very much. And Safar, would you like to ask your question too?
Yes, thank you, Jared. This was quite an interesting presentation. And I would like to highlight the point that was made during the presentation was capacity building via social media. And this presentation itself was quite an interesting example where we had just a video making a presentation to us. That means that, you know, further expansion of information and engagement of youth and so forth are happening via some machine, some applications or some videos. Will there be some in-person contact? Because after all, social networking, social contacting and engagement is good. But what about the in-person contacts? Are we leaving that aside, and are we hoping that this will work only on social media platform?
Thank you, Safar, for your question. Thank you, David. Let me start by answering the question of Safar. So what we meant to establish is basically informal health promotion points where basically communities can discuss the problems that they have, whether they are not directly related to health and such. So it's not like necessarily a publishing platform. So overall, the idea is that we try to piggyback plan developments in order to involve communities executing it. So in this case, we noticed that the Asia Development Bank was starting 800 clinics, and we know from experience that they will, as explained in the presentation, they will use a lot of time to process all the records. So basically, by outsourcing the community, you also involve the community as such, which is also kind of the answer I would like to pose to David. And indeed, the men are not involved, but we also give an example on slide 3 as a hairdresser, for example. In the same capacity, you could also think of incubating other places where people can free to come together and discuss whatever is bothering them, and from there drive change altogether. Thank you.
All right.
If you wish to see an overview of the presentation or the slides, so you can go to ybc.earth. That is Yankee Bravo Charlie.earth.
Michelle, there's a little bit of time left, so I'm going to recite one of the questions that we have in the chat. Who will be the target audience of this proposal? This was asked by Baltugan.
The communities. So basically, so the clinics in this case, they have a service area, and that involves communities, and the communities are basically offering, what if you behave well? What if you only come to the clinic if you are fully informed with all the documents and so on and so on? So basically, it's a win-win between them. Patient confidentiality is by the health record. I did a project of this before in Singapore.
All right, thank you very much. That's great and within the time. And I believe that this is the last presentation. And Basan, could you quickly confirm that this is true?
Yes.
Yeah, this must be last. Okay. Well, this was really interesting, and I would like to thank everybody for participating. Thank you, participants, for giving such great presentations. I have had the chance, together with our team, to already get to know you and see your presentations, and it has been great to learn about who you are and what drives you. And it's really impressive to see how much also the presentations improved over time. And we are all very proud of you. And we want to thank the jury members for their great questions. And we hope that you have also enjoyed listening to these proposals. They were selected out of a group of over 150 proposals. So this is a very exciting narrowing down, and it's going to be hard for you, I believe, to make the final step in selecting the winners now. And for the audience, thank you very much for joining us today. I would like to say that tomorrow there will be another event. This will be on information and knowledge. And there will be several other events coming Thursday and Friday where we have the grand finale. And I'm going to give the word to my colleague Manon, who can tell you a little bit more about the events that we will have for the rest of the week. Thank you so much.